Well, good morning. It's with deep satisfaction that I bring this story I've been sharing for the past number of days to a close, because that's the whole point of our journey, is to bring the story to a close, the karmic story that each of us is born with a certain amount of karmic baggage that comes with us from previous incarnations. And then, of course, we have to deal with the unfolding karmic journey of this lifetime. So that's what I've talked about before when I say, we have this body and we have this person, both of which developed from our birth. And this is intended to be our communication device for our true purpose, which goes beyond the limits of the body and the person. It has everything to do with our relationship with the unmanifested, God, Abraham, by any name, our creative source of our world, of this universe. And that is our function. Our function is our happiness. So the whole point of this journey is to arrive at a place where we can be fully available without interference patterns to serve this function and to be fully alive, fully whole, happy, and free. So that was the point of the story that I shared, was to show how one individual dealt with his karmic baggage. And the last part that I shared about seeing the hatred that I had for my father transformed into love, the holiest of all places on earth, is where this occurs. And so this was the completion piece for me in 2005. I was able to let go of my marriage with Suzanne and my business. I knew it was time to realize the full destiny as Sun King for this lifetime. So it was really a pretty exciting time in the period in 2006, 2007, 2008, because basically I was just searching for where, what, with whom. I knew it had to do with this intentional community, the OASIS Center for Conscious Living, and there would be some momentum to develop that in Minnesota. What ended up happening after a couple of years of exploring other places, other possibilities around the country, I had looked into the possibility of establishing a community. In fact, I did briefly in Asheville, North Carolina. There was a possibility I was invited to transform a spa into a teaching facility for A Course in Miracles in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. There was possibility that I would settle in Sarasota, Florida. Anyway, all of those possibilities did not work out, so I ended up back in Minnesota. Actually settled in Stillwater, Minnesota, because that's where my best friend was and still lives. And so I stayed with her for a bit, just kind of searching for what's the next thing. And I ended up getting a very brief job as a live-in chef at a elderly facility. And that was interesting because, again, kind of moving in that direction, intentional community. Here's one way, a senior living facility. But anyway, I ended up meeting this woman as part of my mission of service. I was actually teaching a class in based on Eckhart Tolle's work of The Power of Now. Anyway, a woman in that class had this situation. She had a flower farm, which was becoming a venue for weddings in Stillwater, Minnesota. So I ended up visiting with Cindy and just had this idea that at least for a period of years, I think we had a basic agreement that it would be 5 years. It turned out to be 6. I would work for her in the summer from May until October, managing the farm and being the caretaker of this property. And then I would have the 6 months off in the winter to continue my search, because I had come to realize that it wasn't really going to be possible, or certainly wasn't likely. But I basically decided that this possibility of having an intentional community and a retreat center would happen better outside of the United States. And I also had this thing since 9/11 that I pretty much didn't feel like I wanted to live in the United States. So this was what would happen, and starting in 2009, and then the winter of 2009, 2010, that I would begin exploring other possibilities. And the first place that I went to was Costa Rica, and spent the two winters there, and then 2 winters in Colombia, and then spent time in Ecuador and Peru, and eventually chose Ecuador, and particularly Cuenca, Ecuador, as the place. So actually the process in Minnesota was very lovely, because in 2009, Lynn Cole and myself and a group of others created the OASIS Center for Conscious Living. And it was not really an intentional community as far as living together, but we participated in projects together, primarily gardening. But we would get together weekly, and with the intention of talking about spiritual evolution, talking about what was going on, sort of preparing for time wave 0 in 2012. It was like a 3-year countdown to that, that significant event, December 21st, 2012. So it was a juicy time, a lot of birthing, a lot of new possibilities. Again, the place, when I chose Ecuador, it would still take me 6 years in Ecuador to find this place where I am now, the OASIS Center for Conscious Living Ecuador, which is located on a exquisitely beautiful piece of land about 30 minutes outside of the city of Cuenca. And so this is my paradise fully realized. And one of the things that was really amazing, because I remember when I did a completion piece with a woman in Asheville, North Carolina in 2008, it really was the end. And she sort of declared she was a shamanic breathwork teacher, and so she did a process with me, basically a 24-hour intensive breath work, just the two of us, and she pretty much declared at the end of that process that my karmic journey with the feminine, so I'd done that work with my father, and the masculine, and the men's work, and this woman, Anya Andrews, Mick Andrews, she declared me clear with any of the karmic stuff with my mom. And basically that meant that I could create something totally different with a woman than I had with any of my past relationships, my many girlfriends and 2 wives. And, there was always a certain pattern that those relationships would follow. And Anya basically said, well, now something totally new is possible. So it was really interesting, because actually I came down here to Latin America and eventually choosing Ecuador without any intention of having a partner or being married. I, just wanted to enjoy my retirement, and certainly enjoy the having a girlfriend or not. But what ended up happening was quite amazing, because I met this woman. We met at the Central Park in Cuenca, Ecuador, And she had this idea that she wanted to find a gringo with whom to have a relationship and have a baby. And anyway, I told her she wasn't my type, but we could certainly be friends. Or she asked me about the possibility of working with me. And I had my first country home on the other side of the city from where I am now. And I said, well, I would definitely have some work for you for at least, say, we made a deal for, say, 3 months. She could work full time for me, and she showed up every day on time, and just a very, very nice person, good worker. But again, we didn't have a personal relationship. She was just my employee, but we became friendly, and she shared with me more about her life. She was, Ecuadorian, but very good English. She was educated, she's actually an accountant by education and experience. And then she asked me one day if I would consider helping her out. She explained to me how in her culture, a woman without a child, without married, but more without a child, really doesn't have sort of a level of status within the family that's very good. It's more like an unmarried woman without a child would live at home with the parents and basically be a servant to the parents. And that was her situation at 37. And she said, well, what do you think about helping me make a baby? And I remember just again that voice for God that would always whisper, pay attention. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'd never had the opportunity in either of my two marriages. My ex-wives both had children, didn't want any more. And I just never thought of myself as being a dad, having the opportunity to be a father. And so when Kati asked me that question, I said, okay. And it was, here was this universe offering me something that never appeared according to my karmic journey, never really appeared possible or likely that I could have a sweet, happy friendship, relationship with a woman that wasn't based on drama, wasn't based on, again, these old, wounds and such. And also that I could have a child. And, here now I have a 5-year-old daughter who's the most precious, sweet human being that I can imagine. And I know I've shared in the past that I actually asked Amelie when she was around age 1 if there's any possibility that she was the reincarnation of my younger sister, Lynn. And she said, yes, she was. And again, I'm not assuming she understood exactly what I meant, but I think just intuitively, she just said yes. And that was for me this amazing thing. Like, talk about, bonus. You're finished a lifetime, and then you move on to the next lifetime. But what actually happened for me, and apparently also my younger sister, is that we both completed our lifetimes, her via suicide at the age of 35, and me via just the completion of my karmic journey when I, with my father in 2005 and with my mother in 2008, finished the life as if I had actually died. And there was then actually this event that happened more recently here, where literally I died. I fell out of a tree and fell on a pile of rocks and died, but I didn't die. So again, it's kind of this paradox. There is a way we die, and maybe it takes several near-death experiences, but the key is that we have the ability to let go, to surrender, to die, and be reborn. So here I found in this new paradise of Ecuador that this woman would arrive, and then this baby girl would arrive, and then this place where we are here, this piece of property that is amazingly beautiful, would appear, all the pieces. Now it's just a matter of inviting others, to come. There's members, some that are here, others that are coming, to form this beautiful intentional community, this family of like-minded people that would enjoy paradise together. Now, again, it's a little tricky because not everybody necessarily has completed their karmic work. So it's just a matter of being together in a family and accepting each other, bringing, like I said, in a new earth, bringing that baseline of acceptance, and then ideally being able to appreciate each other, and then the possibility of even sharing enthusiasm together. So this is certainly my position, as Sun King. It's very easy for me to guide and lead those who would be interested in living in conscious community, to do that, to bring a baseline of acceptance, to do our best to vibrate with appreciation on a regular basis, and possibly even be living in our highest enthusiasm, which would mean our highest creative expression. So for me, it's sitting with you each day doing these short videos. This is my highest creative expression. It's what I'm best at doing. And the reason I'm good at doing this is because I've practiced for a long time, and I've developed this very good relationship, very solid relationship with the source of all creativity. So if we're aligned with the source, and if we've practiced our craft, the result should be very, very good. And what we know in this expression is the feeling of joy, because we're giving our best. And that's what we were born to do. So fulfilling that destiny, to give our best, to give our highest creative expression, means two things. You develop the relationship with the unmanifested, the source, God, whatever, by whatever name you want to call it. We have that relationship, so there's the ability for this energy to flow, and we've removed our any of the blocks. Remember, in A Course in Miracles, the whole point of the Course in Miracles was to help us remove the blocks to love's presence, the awareness of love's presence. And that's the same thing as Eckhart Tolle would say, removing any of the interference patterns that would block the flow of this energetic principle through us into our world. So this is the completion piece. This is paradise found. I'm a perfect expression of it, example of it. But this is what we are called to do. Each of us is to come together in community, all around the world. We don't have to be in the same physical place, but come together in conscious community and be about fully birthing this new earth that is, literally unfolding before our eyes. And again, it appears to many, they're still in the place of, the caterpillar that has to go into the cocoon and has to experience all the anxiety and all of that comes with the birthing process into the butterfly. But for those of us that are already in that full flowered stage of our own existence as butterflies, mine is named Sun King, that we can help birth others. We can offer ourselves as doulas to help them fully die. This is the whole thing again. The doula is the one that helps us die to the old forms so that the new form might simply arise. Because the new form is here. That's why I'm saying this place, my existence and the existence of this place as an example. Anyone could come here who chooses from anywhere in the world. Anyone can come here and live the perfect life, if this for them would be the perfect life, to be in community, in a beautiful place, raising our animals, growing our food, having a simple, beautiful life with like-minded people. For me, this is it. This is as good as it gets. For others, some others would have another idea of how they would live in community. Doesn't matter. We can be these different communities all around the globe. But the key is to be in community, to be a family together. This is the new way. It's not the biological family anymore. It's this way. It's the communal family of like-minded people that are drawn together to live their highest expression. That's it. That's the completion of my life's mission. Now I'll just carry on with sharing with you a little bit every day, being available to you. Any of you that ever want to have private Zoom chats or connect with me online, video chat or whatever, or come down and visit for a while, stay with us here, you're welcome. You are welcome always. I'm here for you always. It's the sole purpose of my existence today is to be that for you. I love you. Namaste.